Hey everyone, Rudy Briksza here, another video. I wanted to really play this deck just a tiny bit. This is kind of one of the variants that I'm at. A little hard to get the Nexus of Fate on Moto, so instead I'm playing a Baral's Expertise. Otherwise you might notice this list is basically like the list from my article. I just wanted to talk about it a tiny bit, play a few matches with it, and just to kind of see where I'm at. Obviously the deck is always in flux. I'm always working with it, but this is where I'm at the moment. We are playing only 18 lands, and Zhalfirin Void is basically free. Inventor's Fair is kind of free, so there's no reason not to play them. I think for the most part, what's really interesting about this deck is the way the deck used to be, is it kind of used to be this Aetherflux Resevoir combo deck, where it's just very important to find your reservoir, put it into play, play a bunch of spells, and then kill your opponent. You may have noticed Glint Crane is not in this version of the deck, and I think that's because it's a little bit worse in this deck. We have cards like Scion, Karn that we really want to make use out of, and so there's a tiny bit less artifacts than there were before, but there's still obviously a lot of work to be done with Scion and Karn. But Sci's just been incredible. It's just this very powerful way of being able to go very wide, do a lot of damage, and a way to kind of protect yourself while you're looking for a way to kill your opponent. Some of the best starts involve playing an INspiring Statuary on turn 3, then turn 4 playing a Sci, playing an artifact or two, and then playing a Karn and making a 7/7, 8/8, 9/9 construct on turn 4. And basically, that's one of the more broken starts that you can do with it, and that's a lot of power to put on. And obviously, you still have Reservoir as a backup. I think one of the more interesting cards is Fountain of Renewal. It pairs very well with your Reservoir. Gives you a bit of time against some of the mid-range decks. Sometimes against the aggro decks, if they have a slow start, this can help give you a few extra life, which is sometimes all you need. Especially if you're trying to get to Reservoir. But also you can sack it and draw a card, so you always have that, late game draw size, very similar in that sense that you can just sacrifice, a bunch of your Thopters, draw more cards. Otherwise, the deck is kind of very powerful and does a lot of cool things. So I'm pretty excited to play this a little bit. Post sideboard, my plan against some decks are just to board in Walking Ballistas and Zahid. Zahid is a card that, we've kind of been looking at. How do we fit this card into Standard? Where does it go? What does it do? And it's been a little difficult trying to figure out exactly a good place to put it. The blue cost is kind of prohibitive, and trying to play it in a deck with Whirler seems great. But if you're not playing a deck that's dedicated to a bunch of artifacts, it's kind of a little loose. And I think it actually fits in really well here, especially when removal is okay against your deck, and the kind of removal that's okay is good against Sci and good against Karn, but not great against Zahid. Especially against Control, being able to play this card on turn 3 is fantastic. It does happen to be another legendary creature, so Mox Amber it does turn on, which is kind of nice, lets you do a couple things. But otherwise, the sideboard just clean, Negate, Aether Meltdown, more Baral's Expertise. Baral's is great against the green decks, Aether Meltdown is great against the aggro decks. Although I've been a little less high on Aether Meltdown, but I'm sure the card is still fine. And obviously Walking Ballista is just a card that you can kind of play and sit on forever against control decks. And I certainly don't mind it against the aggro decks either. So I'm going to try this deck out. I haven't really played a lot with it, so my sideboarding is going to be a tiny bit off. So please let me know in the video below, comment below, if you have any suggestions, if you have any ideas. And we'll be back for my first match in just a little bit. This is an interesting hand. I think we're going to keep, because we're on the draw, we also have a Renegade Map. We have Sci potentially on 3, and if we draw a land and a INspiring Statuary, then we're going to be in a fantastic position here. And I did end up drawing an island, so that's kind of cool. That means we are going to have all 3 of our lands here to be able to cast Sci. If we draw a 4th land in the meantime, we'll be in a great spot. Graveyard Marshal is a pretty good start for sure. We're going to go ahead and just pass here. Mox Amber means we theoretically have a 4th land, assuming our Sci resolves, but we're going to take some damage in the meantime. Yeah, Death Baron is going to resolve. We're going to go ahead and encase 3 right here. There's no real reason for us to do anything. I'm going to wait till my draw step before I activate map. But this is the kind of matchup where we're going to want to go wide as soon as possible. And drawing a land here means I actually don't have to use my Renegade Map, which means my Paradoxical Outcome is just going to be a tiny bit better. I'm going to go ahead and cast Scythe here and start getting some Thopters going. Oh no. I want to turn that off for a little bit. Stop! Ooh, Facebook. Yeah, this is great, right? Because we just went from a period of having absolutely nothing in play to now having 3 Thopters, Scythe, and, you know, a bunch of different artifacts. This is a fantastic position to be in. I just have to hope our Scythe doesn't die here. Next turn we could play Karn, make a huge construct. Ooh, Lord of the Accursed. That's a good one. My opponent attacks with Graveyard Marshal. I'll probably just end up chumping. If they attack with Death Baron, I'll probably trade off. Or I'll attempt to trade off. I just want to clear up the Lords as much as possible. Now we get to start gaining some life back, just a tiny bit. I'm going to go ahead and get this other island now. Now you get to make a big ol' 4/4 here. Next turn we can make another huge creature. We'll just basically start putting ourselves in a position where our opponent can no longer really attack. And then we'll be able to use Paradoxical Outcome and Commit to Memory to really pull far ahead. My friend plays Liliana's Mastery here. It's obviously pretty good, but this construct just kind of stops Graveyard Marshal in its tracks. Our opponent does only have a few cards, and we are going to be able to rebuy sometime soon. Liliana's Mastery, obviously a fantastic card here, but you know we kind of have our opponent covered on the field simply with this 4/4 construct. If our opponent wants to attack, I'd be happy to trade my construct for this Graveyard Marshal. No worries. We'll be more than happy to do that. Let's go ahead and start off with the Paradoxical Outcome here. We're just going to draw a few cards. This is a pretty good spot to be in. Now I get to make a lot more. I get to make a lot more Thopters. Make a huge construct here. I don't really think there's anything else that I want to do here. I could make another Thopter, but don't really think I need to do that. I kind of want to save this Mox Amber just in case, you know, I need it for a Reservoir, or if I draw another outcome here. Since I don't have another land drop, you know, there's no reason to play it to try and hold up anything. I could hold up Fountain, but could also like sack 2 Thopters and have a 5/5 construct still. So I think it's a pretty good spot to be in. I'm just gonna go ahead and pass here. We'll start using Karn to start gaining some advantage, and if I draw INspiring Statuary at any point in time, I'll really be able to make use out of Commit into Memory, and Committed to Memory with a Scythe in play is pretty solid. It looks like our opponent, you know, also has a ton of lands. I'm not really worried about this Lord of the Accursed since I have so many Thopters. Menace isn't an issue. So now we just kind of get to sit around for the next couple of turns and see what happens. Ooh, another Lord of the Accursed. That's pretty good. And Graveyard Marshal. Alright, our opponent is going in. They're going to try and go as wide as possible. And again, if they want to attack here, I'd be more than happy to eat anything. I'm going to use Psy here during the end step. So I want to draw a card. Want to get closer to another Paradoxical Outcome. And this is great. To just gain more and more life every turn. Alright, let's start drawing cards with Karn. Double Prophetic PRism, I'll take it. Can't really get better than that. That's one of those nice ones where when both of the cards are the same with Karn, you're exceptionally happy about it. Ooh, that is not a terrible one to draw, that's for sure. Void. Let's go ahead and scry. We're going to scry this to the bottom. Let's get quite a few things in here. I think we're okay to just kind of pass in. Let's go ahead and pass here. Not really too much else to do. Have Commit and Rebuke here. I have a lot of good stuff going on. I'll get rid of this so you have more room, easier to see. This deck definitely puts a lot of permanence into play. So right here, I think we're really hoping to dodge basically more Lords, more Liliana's Masteries, basically ways for our opponent to go super wide. Cards like Never to Return and Vraska's Contempt also pretty good against Psy and Karn. So we're just basically going to have to sit back, wait, hope, and see what happens. It's very likely that I should have actually played this Mox Amber this turn, because it would have let me cast Commit and Metallic Rebuke. But, okay. So have Commit here, so mostly okay. I wonder, my opponent should give double Menace. That'd be great. I do have Commit. I'm probably going to commit a token. Looks like our opponent is going after our friend here. Do kind of want to protect our Karn just a little bit. I don't mind eating a Lord and then clearing out some of my board. And I can commit this, keep the Karn around. I have another Psy coming back next turn. So I really don't mind if Psy dies. We still should keep our construct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we should still keep our construct. Yeah, I do kind of wish that I played the Mox Amber and got 2 more artifacts and still had Rebuke up in case my opponent plays something after. I definitely should have done that. If my opponent plays something here that's like a Lord instead of leaving up Graveyard Marshal, I might be in a tiny bit of trouble. Yeah, Diregraph Ghoul. I guess Diregraph Ghoul means it doesn't actually change anything, but it's still something that I should have done. I'm just activating Graveyard Marshal now for the F6 value. I'm a big fan. Big fan. And we're just going to kind of keep gaining life here. I guess there's nothing really left to do. Kind of just have to play out our other Psy here. Just kind of keep playing everything that we have and kind of keep going on from there. I can Karn here for Prophetic PRism, or I can Karn for another construct. I kind of think I just want to Karn for another construct, just because it'll just make my field even more massive, make attacking a little bit more difficult. I don't mind trading off Karn this turn, and then next turn I can kind of make use out of my memory, and plus I have Psi to draw a bunch of cards. Also, I can theoretically just attack for 10 here. I don't think I can die. I can block, and then take 8. So yeah, I think it actually might be okay here for me to attack as well. Putting my opponent down to 10 is pretty scary for them. But if I leave my construct back, that means my opponent can't really attack unless they draw an answer for the construct. And then they'd have to draw exactly never to return because I have Metallic Rebuke. Yeah, I think I could theoretically get in for 10 here and make my opponent's attack pretty questionable. My opponent can make a couple more zombies, but they do come into play tapped, so that's pretty good for me. This is kind of tough. I think it might be. I think I'm just going to play it safe here, even though it might be right to attack. I think I'm just going to play it safe. And we're really just looking for an outcome at this point. And drawing a lot more cards would be nice. So those are definitely the cards that I'm looking for. We also have a main deck expertise. Definitely would not mind bouncing a bunch of these tokens. Okay, our opponent is going for the menace plan again. I'm just going to eat a bunch of their creatures. You know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are going to be 7s, no matter what basically happens. Let's go ahead and get in here. And I definitely don't mind taking 8 here. I am gaining a ton of life. Just a massive amount of life, or 2 life every turn. So I've gained a little bit of life. I'm going to just keep eating creatures over and over again. I think my opponent meant to deal 1 damage to my Thopter instead of 5 to my construct. Fatal Push on my construct. That's pretty good here. Let's go ahead and sacrifice the construct in response, and a Renegade Map. Go ahead, draw a card. Fatal Push, definitely a good draw. INspiring Statuary is not bad either. I'm also think I'm going to sacrifice these 2 Thopters here. My construct will go to 6, but my opponent doesn't really have anything else going on. Just kind of want to get to doing something. As I mentioned earlier, I am going to take 8. But we're going to go back up to 11, and then I have Statuary into Renewal into, Memory the turn after. So we're in an okay spot here. Things could obviously be better, but that's okay. Baral's expertise is really nice. That means I can clear out these zombie tokens, which is kind of ideal. INspiring Statuary is a good way to start things off, I think. And that next turn will allow us to really play into memory. Alright, so we're going to go with Zombie, and our Prophetic PRism. And the reason that we're going to go with the Prophetic PRism is because I just want to draw a bunch of cards. And this will essentially allow us to draw a free card. We don't really care about the creatures too much. We have a lot of field right now, and our field's just going to continually grow bigger and bigger. Baral's expertise has been very impressive, to say the least. And you get to cast it, so obviously we get this nice little Thopter going too. Fountain of Renewal is a nice one. I will take it. I don't believe we played a land this turn. Doesn't look like it. No, it doesn't look like we've played a land this turn, so I think I might use this Renegade Map to go get another land. That leaves us the opportunity to draw a card with Psi, which is kind of nice. Or the ability, I don't think it really changes anything off Rebuke, so I'm going to go ahead and just get another island here. I'm going to go ahead and attack with Psy here because we're not really blocking with it. Might as well get in. Ooh, our opponent thinks they might have gotten us, but unfortunately the zombie comes into play tapped. So we are not to be got. Basically the only card that we can counter now is Vraska's Contempt, Liliana, and Liliana's Mastery. So it's possible that if my opponent plays something, I might just kind of fire off this Rebuke here. Ooh, if near Deadlands available, double Graveyard Marshal was still available, nothing has changed. And our opponent does not want to attack anymore. Alright, so I'm going to Psy here. Just get rid of a couple Thopters, because again, if we draw Paradoxical Outcome, you can't bounce your tokens. So that's not something that I want. Wow, Karn is great. And I'm just going to gain a bunch of life here, start pulling myself further and further away from my opponent having any answers to anything. Metallic Rebuke doesn't really do anything for me, so let's go ahead and cast this Karn. And then I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to flashback this Memory. So I could Memory here. I think I might just wait till next turn. Just keep making Karn Structs. I think I'm just going to keep making Karn Structs here. Just don't think there's any real need for me to do anything. I can use Inventor's Fair to go get, a Reservoir if I want. What else could I get? Let's just take a quick look at our deck list. If there's anything else we really want, no, I think it would just be Reservoir. So I think I'm just going to wait this turn, go ahead and pass, and then I might Inventor's Fair for an Aetherflux Reservoir over the next couple of turns. Try and get something going in. And I'm not really supremely worried about my life total at this point. And I'm at 15. I'm going to gain 4 life, potentially even 3 life if I crack Inventor's Fair here. I can really eat a bunch of my opponent's creatures, so attacking isn't really ideal for them at this moment. They're going to have to find a removal spell for my constructs. I think next turn I might just activate Memory. Just Memory for 2 islands and a bunch of artifacts, draw a new 7, and then go from there. And Menace I don't really mind at all. Even if my opponent wants to try and kill Karn, I might just eat their Graveyard Marshal or something. Yeah, they're all going after Karn. I don't really care too much about that, so I'm just going to go ahead and eat a couple of their creatures here. Because it's free for me to eat all these creatures. I don't really care if Karn dies. I can sacrifice these 2 Thopters, still have 9/9s in play, draw an extra card. And it looks like our opponent did not draw a removal spell this time. For our constructs, they are going to lose their Marshal. Thopter. Let's draw a card. If we draw Outcome, then probably can't lose anymore. But I'm not really super worried about losing anyway. I think this is just a game of inevitability. Let's Inventor's Fair first. Let's go ahead and get my Reservoir now. Relics Reservoir. And then I think I can double Rebuke. Yeah, I can double Rebuke here. Improvise. Man, Rebuke is so cool here. You get the double value. Wow, they just let it happen. I thought they would just pay for it. It's definitely a little interesting here, but we're going to gain a bunch of life. Alright, let's go ahead and play this Reservoir. Could get some more Thopters. Let's go ahead and gain some life here. think my opponent also just might be dead on board as well to my Karn structs, so I'm just going to go ahead and deck with these things for infinite. I think our opponent is now dead. And I got so excited about, you know, comboing off with my memory and my reservoir that I just missed that my opponent is actually just dead on board. I don't think this is a matchup where I want to change much. I think I want these Baral's expertise, but I don't really think I want anything else. I don't think the game that we're playing is like the Zahid game. I don't really think that's doing anything. I just want to kind of give myself as much time as humanly possible. And I think this is like a combo matchup too. What do I want to cut? And this is kind of the hardest part, is I'm not sure what I want to cut. I definitely want to cut, you know, some of my cheaper things, but I don't really think that matters. Size obviously great, so I'm going to want to make sure that that works. I think we can cut maybe one Fountain and an Ornithopter. Those seem like pretty weak to have. The Zombie seems like an interesting deck. That's the kind of deck I really like. It doesn't really line up well against the Briksza deck, which I think is an issue, and I think the Zombies deck might line up really well against the green decks. You're basically a Death Touch Lord deck, you know, that's swarming them, and their individual threats are... very powerful, but Zombies is very good at going wide, and they have a lot of reasonable removal, so it's possible that the deck lines up well against there. It might be a little too slow against red-black, but it's definitely the kind of deck that I enjoy. I think it might be well positioned. I think people are just waiting. I guess we'll just have to sit around and wait. I guess we can talk about some other options. So I think it's possible Zahid might be good against this deck, just because they don't have any flyers. They're kind of weak to flyers, and we can, you know, maybe attack them for 5. But if we're playing this game, maybe it's better than playing this Reservoir game. So maybe we don't want to play Reservoir, and instead we just want to play Zahid. You know, just cut some of our other ways. Just make sure that we can survive as long as possible. Not sure, maybe cut these, something like this, and then bring in a bunch of Zahids, and then, you know, just kind of want to Baral's expertise them, and 5 them. That's possible. I don't think Aether Meltdown's great, because, you know, the deck creates a lot of creatures. They're not really reliant on something like Heart of Karn to make some work in, and Walking Ballista does not kill anything. They do not really have X1s. So it's not really going to be great in that term. So I think I don't think Zahid's going to be very good in this matchup. This is interesting. We are on the draw. I do have Statuary, Renegade Map, and Baral's expertise, so I think I am going to keep this hand. We are, again, going to have to draw a couple lands here, but I think that's okay. Mox Amber, not really the land that we're looking for here, but it can help us power out a Baral's expertise if we need. In the meantime, yeah, we're gonna taste it just a little bit. Zombies coming after our brains. Go ahead and get some islands in here. Ooh, that was unfortunate. I was really hoping to draw a land off that Prophetic PRism so I could Statuary into expertise. It's not an option. We might just be dead on turn 4 now. Not super surprised at that. We don't really have any other way to interact. Oh, that's really unfortunate. I think we might just be dead here. Missing a land drop there was pretty bad. I think we are pretty much dead to any Lord here, right? 4, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, we're exactly dead to any Lord. All right. That was an interesting game. No real ways to interact, so we're drawing the island next turn. Unfortunate. All right, let's try that again. Let's see if this time it'll work just a tiny bit better. But our opponent is a very good swarm deck, and we do not really have a lot of interaction outside of Baral's expertise. We're both kind of looking at each other and hoping things work out. But that is another reason that I like zombies, kind of unopposed. You have the turn 4 win, and with 8 lords in your deck, it's not really that, unsurprising for, somebody to have more than one. We'll just have to resubmit, see what happens, hope things work out. So now we just have to sit and wait for our opponent, unfortunately. Maybe they want to change anything, but I don't really think our opponent has too many different ways to try and find out what's going on, so I don't know what they're going on, but maybe they're going to the bathroom. Maybe they're taking a break. That's one of the nice things about Moto is you have your own time to waste as well as your opponent's. There's no extensions either, so if they do need to eat or go to the bathroom, the perfect time to do it is, in between rounds when they have that 2-minute window. That's really what they're going to be looking for. So now we just have to sit around and wait another 2 minutes for our opponent. I do apologize to our viewers. But again, I don't really think there's anything we want to change here. I think we're pretty happy with how most of this is set up. So just kind of gotta sit around and play the waiting game. There we go. We do want to be on the play. This hand doesn't really do anything, so I'm going to mulligan it. This hand's a tiny bit better, although I'm not super excited about this kind of hand. We do have a commit. I'm going to bottom this. I really want to draw a map here. We don't have a Sai or anything, or a Karn. Rebuke obviously is only okay. Our opponent has a duress here. Looks like our game 1 went really well. We kind of drew all of our payoffs, and here have not drawn a single one yet. So it's certainly a little bad in games 2 and 3. We do have a few draw steps, especially if our opponent's not doing anything on the first turn, except taking away our Prophetic PRism. We do have a lot of those, and hopefully in the the near future we'll just continually draw some more lands, maybe Statuary, Sai, just some things to do with some mana and some things to do with them. Yeah, Graveyard Marshal's pretty good. It's pretty good. Alright, we don't really have anything to do here, so just kind of have to sit and play the I have to pass forever game until something happens. We do have Metallic Rebuke, which is kind of nice. Means our opponent can't really do anything, but they do get to attack us for 3 a turn with this Graveyard Marshal, and eventually we're going to run out of answers. Our opponent does know that we have Metallic Rebukes. Yeah, I mean, Dread Wanderer is unfortunately something that we're going to have to Metallic Rebuke. Our opponent's going to get to play a 2-drop if they want, but we can't really sit around and play the game. We're sitting and waiting. Scrap Heap Scrounger. It's kind of an interesting card. It's not a card that I mind having. That's unfortunate. I think this is going to be a game where our 18 land and bottoming a Renegade Map is going to come back to bite us pretty hard here. Yeah, our opponent has another duress here that's pretty devastating at this point, since we've drawn a bunch of uncastables, and I think that's gonna about do it for this game, and it's a little unfortunate. Yeah, our opponent has a Lord too. Yeah, this is very unfortunate. I need to draw land here, and even then, that's not very good. So I think we're kind of dead at this point. We don't really have anything going on. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So I'm going to go ahead, call that. Without even a land here, there's just not a single thing that I can do. So we died to zombies. Unfortunate, but we'll have to get back and try and get in. So I'll catch you guys for the next game in a moment. Hey everyone, we are on the draw. Which is kind of unfortunate, but we do have Psi and Mox Amber and Ornithopter, so we have some things to be doing. So I'm pretty okay with this kind of hand. It is unfortunate that we're going to have to spend a couple turns doing a little bit of nothing spinning our wheels, but you know we have Psi, so all we need now is just some payoffs for it. Looks like our opponent's playing green-black, which I think in general is a reasonably good matchup. If they don't kill us on turn 4, then I think we're in a great spot. And another 0 is nice. Wow, and Paradoxical Outcome is fantastic. The best thing that we can draw here is INspiring Statuary, because INspiring Statuary will let us play Psi, Ornithopter, Mox Amber, and Paradoxical Outcome all in the same turn. Steel Leaf Champion, pretty good. Pretty good. Alright. We did not. It's a little unfortunate, but I am going to get a bunch of Thopters here. And then we get to untap and play Paradoxical Outcome. And then make a few more Thopters. And this is the power of Psi. It's unfortunate we don't have a Metallic Rebuke here. And we are going to take 5 because it's unblockable. I do like that our opponent could have attacked here and you know maybe signal that they have a blossoming defense, but I think not attacking means that they don't have one. So I think the best draw here once again is INspiring Statuary. Definitely would not mind. Galta here is pretty bad for me, to say the least. Yeah, Galta is really bad for me. I gotta hope we draw something pretty good here, to say the least. Pretty good. We drew nothing. Drew nothing good. It was unfortunate. Drew a bunch of air, which is kind of interesting because there is some air in the deck, but there's obviously not a ton. Drew a lot of lands, that's for sure. Again, there are only 18 lands in this deck. And since there are only 18 lands in the deck, drawing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them, half of them in your first 17 cards is pretty bad. Pretty bad to say the least. Ooh, this is so bad. How do I survive? I need to bring this down to 7. This is 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. This is 11 in total. So we died to Blossoming Defense, but we're going to die to Blossoming Defense anyway. And we desperately need to draw something like Baral's Expertise regardless. And our opponent had the slow hand, which is what we needed, and then it just didn't work out from there. It's a little unfortunate for me. Our opponent does have the Blossoming Defense. That's a little unfortunate. Alright, and we are dead. Yeah, that was a game where we desperately needed some more artifacts for sure. We definitely just want these Baral's Expertise, and I don't really want anything else. We could also bring in Zahid, too, but I'm not really thrilled with Zahid, but it might be fine. Just a huge 5/6 means that we can actually block the Steel Leaf Champion, so I'm going to try it. I'm going to cut one of these. Cut a Prism. Cut a Psi. Let's cut another Fountain. Alright, let's try this. Let's try it. Let's see how good Zahid's going to be in this matchup. So we're gonna try this, see how it plays out. Again, my sideboarding, I think it's a little off because I'm not very familiar, not super familiar with this deck just yet. So if you do have any advice, any ways to board, please let me know. I'd love to hear it. So let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, it looks like we might have to play the waiting game again. We're waiting for our opponent to finish their sideboarding. Yeah, let's play first. Yeah, we can keep this hand. We do have a Scry. We do have a turn 2 Rebuke and a turn 3 Rebuke. So that's kind of nice. But we do, you know, I actually don't like this hand. I actually kind of regret keeping it. This is the kind of hand that I think might look appealing, but without a payoff is not great. Renegade Map, not something that we need. We have a lot of lands already. So just go ahead and get to slam it at the bottom. Next turn I get to go Ornithopter Island, and you know, our opponent probably is going to realize that we have Metallic Rebuke, but there's not really too much that they can do about it. And then we get to spend the next couple of turns casting a Rebuke into Karn. Karn might draw us a bunch of cards. Zhalfirin, it's not something that I want to resolve. So I'm going to go ahead and just rebuke that. The card that's pretty damaging. Another island here is not great, to say the least. So we are just going to have to pass again. We're flooding out a bit, and I think part of the reason that this deck plays 18 lands is because flooding is just so heinously bad. Go ahead and rebuke again. Just want to keep the board clear so we can just draw as many cards as we can off this Karn. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, we are flooding real bad. We're flooding real bad here. We do have Mox Amber INspiring Statuary. Which is okay, I guess. Definitely don't mind having access to a statuary, depending on what I draw here. 4 mana. Vinemare? Steel Leaf Champion. Okay. Well, another statuary is kind of nice. So what I can do here is I can play the statuary, and I can play Amber, and I can make a huge threat. I think though I need to kind of just keep drawing cards. Another island. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad for me. Pretty heinous, to say the least. Really want to commit to Memory or Baral's Expertise or Psi. Just something here. Vivian Reed, it's pretty bad for me. It's pretty bad. I have no way to pressure that. That would have been good for killing the construct, and yeah, this is just a pretty bad set of draws here. Even though we've drawn 2 extra cards, both of our cards have been pretty unplayable, to say the least. Let's go ahead and put this INspiring Statuary into our hand. So much mana. Good news is we can kind of just cast anything we want, right? Let's go ahead and cast this Mox Amber now. Now we have the ability to draw a card if we need. Our Karn is very dead. There's not really too much I can do about that. Not too much I can do about that at all. Karn is just very dead. Very dead. I wanted this statuary. You know, it's just going to be a good card to have, especially if we can draw Outcome this next turn. There's Aronis. I do like some Aronis. There's Kalta. That's pretty bad for me. And our opponent has an Oasis in hand as one of their cards. So I could just basically hope that our opponent doesn't have something too crazy. Go ahead and sack. We drew outcome, so that's kind of nice. Zhalfirin Void, pretty bad. Really wanted to draw an artifact there. Pretty bad to say the least. Alright, now we get to draw some cards. I don't think it's going to matter, though. I think we're pretty dead, to say the least. Especially since we drew a bunch more lands. It's another 9 lands that we've drawn so far. That's pretty bad. Yeah, so now we're in a spot where I'm pretty sure we're actually just dead on board. That's everything our opponent's doing. Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. Played a couple games where we kind of flooded out a little bit. Drew 9 lands at least out of our 18. Naturally. Our Thopter's dead. It looks like our opponent's just kind of double pumping and forcing us to block. But again, I mean, we're just actually dead here unless I draw Baral's Expertise. So let's see if I can draw Baral's Expertise here. Oh, I guess we're actually just dead anyway. 12, 9. Oh yeah, we're exactly dead. Well, that's unfortunate. We weren't going to draw anything anyway, so I guess we're just going to play our next match and see if we can pull this back. Things have not been going great for us. Things have not been going great. Let's see if we can pull it around in these last couple of last few matches. Do we need this land here? I don't think we do, because we do have Renegade Map. So it is essentially another land. We do definitely want to draw INspiring Statuary here. Concealed Courtyard. Alright, maybe this prism can get us to it. Come on, Statuary. Ooh, Paradoxical Outcome is a nice one to have, though, that's for sure. It's partially why I'm leaving the Renegade Map in play, partially for those two things. Glint-Sleeve Siphoner here is going to be pretty solid. Although Sai is going to be pretty good at being able to block it. Especially with this Mox Amber in play. Alright, and the next turn it looks like we have, you know, outcome into outcome at least. We do have some things going on. This is a Kite Sail freebooter here. Not really doing anything though. We do have a lot of Paradoxical Outcomes in our hand. Alright, getting rid of that Baral's Expertise. I do like that. If our opponent, I don't think our opponent can attack here. Yeah, that is a little unfortunate for them. I think I'm going to go ahead and Paradoxical Outcome here. I do just want to kind of draw a few cards here. This is great. Ooh, and I drew Statuary. That's even better. That means next turn I'm going to really get to do some cool things. I think at this point I just kind of want to go as deep as possible. With a bunch of Thopters. So no real reason to do anything. We can kind of just sit back on all the Thopters that I've made. Next turn I can go Statuary into Paradoxical Outcome. And then just draw even more cards, get even further ahead. It looks like Ipni Rivulet. So it looks like our opponent is playing a Gate to the Afterlife deck, if I had to guess. If this is another Kite Sail freebooter, that would be kind of sad, to say the least. We lose our Paradoxical Outcome. This is a matchup where I think, in general, we're going to be fairly good against Gates. We don't have a removal spell for this Kite Sail freebooter, so our opponent's going to have to block or attack with this to give it back. I don't think that's going to happen here. What do we got? Hostage Taker. Oh, that's really bad for me. Aww. Now we don't get to combo off the same way that we've been doing. Our opponent's going to get their own Psy here. Oh, that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. To play this INspiring Statuary here. Get this island. Play this island. And I think here, at this point, I think I'm actually just going to pass. I think we can pass here. Yeah, so we're just gonna... Actually, I guess I could play this map. But actually, what I'm gonna do here is... So I could play this map if I want to, but I'm not... I don't think so. I think I'm gonna wait. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait till I can commit this Kitesail Freebooter. Get my Baral's expertise back. Baral's expertise, you know, the Hostage Taker, the Psy, the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Get the Psy back into my hand. Replay the Psy. Play Prophetic PRism Renegade Map. Get a couple more Thopters, and then play Paradoxical Outcome, drawing a bunch of cards. Which is really exciting, to be honest. Yeah. Our opponent's just going to cast this Psy here, and it's not going to do anything. That's going to be great. Ooh, a Walking Ballista here. That's kind of exciting. My opponent can't really attack here. And I want this Freebooter gone so I can get this Baral's expertise in. And this is kind of exciting. All the cool things that I get to do here. Ooh, that one's really nice too. Let's bounce this, the Hostage Taker, and the Thopter. Let's improvise. Let's go ahead and cast this Reservoir here. Go ahead and put the Psy into play. Start gaining life. Let's Outcome. Let's bounce this Mox Amber, this Fountain. And I guess this Psy. Have I played a land yet this turn? I haven't. So I think if I want to draw a bunch of cards here, that wouldn't be too bad. But I think it might just be safer to just kind of do this. Our opponent does have a Kitesail Freebooter in. On top of their deck now. They do have Hostage Taker. I'm a little worried about Hostage Taker, so I think I'm just gonna draw a bunch of cards here. Let's go ahead and gain a bunch, draw a bunch. Did not draw land. That's a little unfortunate. That means we're not going to be able to recast Psy, but I still can gain a bunch of life. The question is, do I want to gain a bunch of 6 life or not, 7 life or not? That's the real question. I don't think I do. I think I kind of want to wait and just make more. All right, this Hostage Taker is definitely taking our Reservoir here. Just a tiny bit unfortunate. Tiny bit unfortunate. Not really too much I can do about that, though. Alright, so now we just kind of get to sit back and wait. I think our opponent has to Hostage Taker our Reservoir this turn, otherwise they're just dead. Yeah. So that's kind of neat. Minister of Inquiries. I'm going to take some damage here, but I think that's fine. Next turn I get to go Psy into a bunch of artifacts. I think that's going to be probably pretty good here, to say the least. Here's a bunch of Thopters. How do you feel about all of these Thopters? Just get to go so wide. This is just so dumb. Yeah, and then next turn, I think I'm going to play my map and then cast Memory and flash that back and just draw 7 more cards and go even wider. And right now we just have, you know, 10 damage and flying in the air. And our opponent is at 12. So I feel pretty good about that. I wouldn't be surprised to see Reservoir played here into a spell, so our opponent could start trying to gain life to try and get away from these Thopters beating them. Kitesail Freebooter doesn't... Irrelevant here. Irrelevant. INspiring Statuary is gone, but again, that doesn't really matter too much because we already have a Statuary in play. Our opponent can't really attack, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to go ahead and play this map. Play this Ornithopter. Let's go ahead and flashback Memory. Draw a lot more cards. Recycle through what my opponent's doing. Oh, Paradoxical Outcome. That's a nice one. Yeah, let's just go ahead and cast this here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I guess before I cast that, let's cast this Karn. Let's cast this big old Karn. Let's get a huge Karn struct going. It's Paradoxical Outcome now. Do I want to draw this many cards? I can also just wait here too. This is actually kind of interesting. So I actually could just wait. I could just attack for 10 in the air, pass, and then next turn I could Reservoir them. You do have a land drop, which is kind of nice. I think my opponent's dead here. Alright, I just realized my opponent's dead here. So I'm going to go ahead and play this Reservoir. My opponent is tapped out. There's no reason to do anything here yet. They're actually just dead. Because I'm going to cast my outcome here. 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be good enough. That should be more than good enough. I'm just get to draw a bunch of cards off this, and I mean they're dead anyway to the Reservoir, but yeah, that was nuts. This is why I like this deck, because sometimes you can just do crazy stuff like that, and this just seems like just the most powerful thing you can be doing. If we can just fix this consistency issue by just a tiny bit, we should be okay. I think I want these Baral's expertise. I don't really think I want anything else. I think we're already fairly favored. I think we're just gonna cut some cheap cards, put in Baral's expertise just so we have a lot of time. This is a hand that I would love to keep if I had anything. Let's see. This is an interesting hand. I actually don't like this hand. Alright, I'm going to mulligan. Alright, this one's okay. Oh, we drew a land, so that's kind of nice, but I mean, again, we don't really have a lot going on here, so we have to hope our opponent is doing a slow thing. Slow things. Is this a Walking Ballista? It is. Walking Ballista not very good against my deck. Drawing a land here is kind of nice. Being able to cycle Prophetic PRism also kind of nice. Champion of Wits. Now that's a good card. That's a card I'd love to play in this deck. Ooh, Angels. I hope our opponent doesn't have white land refurbish, but I think they're probably a gate deck, if I had to guess. Right, Void. What do we want here? Karn? I'll take Karn. Karn's a nice one. Now we just want to draw a statuary, and I think we'll be in an incredible shape. Is this a gate? I hope it's a gate. Trophy Mage. Well, that's close enough to a gate that I will happily counter that. Another outcome. Another outcome's not bad. But I think here, Karn is going to be too much for my opponent to handle at the moment, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep drawing a bunch of cards. Even if it just draws me some lands, I'll be okay with that. Oh no. Kitesail Freebooter, pretty good. I mean, luckily we boarded in a bunch of expertise, but I can't imagine my opponent takes anything but expertise here. They do. Alright. I'm not super surprised at that. I'm also not going to be surprised to see Karn take 3 here. The question is, do I want to draw or do I want to outcome here? Pretty sure my opponent has a negate, but my Karn's kind of dead anyway, so I don't mind just kind of getting this prism, drawing a card off it. There's an INspiring Statuary, and I do like that. That is a card that I definitely do not mind having in play here. This means my outcomes are now going to be very good. Our Karn is very dead. That's true. But we do have outcome to draw, 3 or 4 cards with Renegade Map. It's probably going to be 4 cards, and since we do have outcome, I think we'll be in an okay spot. Another prism here is kind of nice. It means it's just an extra free card for us to draw. Mox Amber also a free card for us to draw off of. And we do have double Paradoxical Outcome, so I'm not super worried about that. Opponent literally has to have double negate here. If they have double negate, they have double negate. There's not really too much I can do about that one. Ooh, another freebooter. Alright, let's try and draw a bunch of cards. Ooh, that was kind of nice. We are going to lose out on this other Paradoxical Outcome, but I think actually drawing Baral's Expertise changes things. I think my opponent has to take Baral's Expertise here and just let me draw another 20 cards off of Paradoxical Outcome. I don't really think they have too much of a choice there, but I don't think they can leave me with Baral's Expertise when I can just Baral's their board. And our opponent is just going to have to get as aggressive as possible because they know at some point in time I'm just going to win this game. What would be great here is if I drew another Expertise. That would be fantastic. I did not. It's a little unfortunate. I think I actually just might be dead on board too. Oh, there we go. Sai is a perfect one to draw here. Sai is exactly what I was looking for. Ooh, a commit to memory. That is a good one. That means I can kind of just play this Mox Amber and pass here. Because it means I can just commit one of these Kitesail Freebooters and be in a good spot. If my opponent wants to use Walking Ballista to eat all my Thopters, then I get to survive pretty easily. Our opponent can make their Ballista a 5/5, but I mean, I am going to be blocking it, to say the least. Then it will be committing one of these freebooters. I don't mind just blocking everyone here. I don't really want to trade off on my side just yet. I don't mind taking 2 to 7. Actually, what I should have done is I should have had 2 Thopters blocked on the Baral's Expertise, or on a Baral's Expertise freebooter, and forced my opponent to Ballista and kill the Thopter. That probably would have been smart, but I did not consider that because I was so focused on my plan of commit. Okay. 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 I think I might just Paradoxical Outcome it now. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I get to go ahead and Paradoxical Outcome. And if everyone has Negate here, they have Negate as their last card, but it does not look like they do. So now I get to kind of just survive and get to play Psy again for free. Champion of Witch seems interesting here. I'm not sure why they're casting. I think they played a land at the beginning of the turn. I think they might have wanted to hold that for Champion, but they did not. So they get to lose out on some cards here. It's a little interesting. What do I want to play here? Ooh, well, I drew some interesting cards in drawing this Aetherflux Resevoir. Yeah, and I think we're going to get to go pretty crazy this turn. I don't know if our opponent is exactly dead this turn. So I would not say that they are exactly dead this turn, but we do have a lot of neat things to do. Oh, I guess our opponent's just going to concede, but in case our opponent didn't concede, we should walk through it. We did gain 3 life off the Amber, so we'd gain 4 life. I'm going to play 2 Fountain of Renewals here. So that's going to be 4 life and 5 life. That's going to bring us up to 22 here. I'm going to play a Karn for free. That's going to gain us 6 life. That's going to bring us up to 28. I'm going to play another Karn for free. That's going to gain us 7 life, bring us up to 35. And I don't think our opponent can really do anything after that. So that was interesting. At least we won one match today. But we're going to come back, and I still have at least one more match in me. So I'm going to do that. I'll be back in just a moment. It's probably going to be my last match with this deck for the day. Gotta get going. But we are on the draw, I believe, and I do have a Statuary, so it's obviously one of the most powerful cards in the deck. We do have Zhalfirin Void to try and fix our draws a little bit. We're just looking for a Psy or a Karn here. Paradoxical Outcome also okay. Ornithopter, not really what I'm looking for at this point in time. Whoops, should have played my Renegade Map there, but that's okay. We just play it next turn. The good old turn 2 Renegade Map. A Knight of Grace. Okay, well this seems like a matchup where we just kind of have to survive the early onslaught. Another island here, not ideal. Not really what we're looking for. Scavenger Grounds. Kind of interesting. Pretty good against Commit to Memory, but not great against anything else that's going on here. So my opponent could just pass and not do anything for the next few turns while I try to find a payoff spell. That'd be fantastic. They didn't. That was kind of interesting. Renegade Map, obviously, essentially another land. So not really doing too much here. We just need a payoff spell. Looking for a commit. Looking for a Paradoxical Outcome, a Karn or Psy. We're just going to kind of spend the next few turns just maybe playing out lands and just passing. I don't really think there's too much else for me to be doing. Ooh, if our opponent's cycling a cast out, it's pretty good for me. It also might mean that their hand is a bunch of lands and an Ajani. I'm pretty scared if our opponent plays a Ajani here. It'd be pretty good. Benelish Marshal. Well, that's scary, but not as scary. Prophetic PRism. Alright, that's pretty good. Hopefully that can cycle us into one of our payoffs. Metallic Rebuke. Okay, well, that's not bad. Would have loved to counter this Benelish Marshal, but I guess we can counter whatever they play next. Again, just realistically, just looking for a payoff here. You do have 8 9, 10, 11. So we have at least 12 cards that are good. Reservoir would also be fine. So we have like 14 cards that are pretty good to draw here. Can start trying to chain off a little bit. Well, that's not a bad one. I'll take Rebuking Alira. Now we need to draw a payoff because we are dead in 2 turns. Karn, that is a payoff. That is a payoff. Might as well basically cast it for free. Make a 4/4 here. 4/4 here means we get to block Benelish Marshal or Knight of Grace, which is pretty nice. Unless my opponent plays an Ajani, in which case that doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to play this Renegade Map here, just so we have a 5/5 Karn Struct. This way we get to beat an Ajani or Lord. Yeah, I think our opponent is now forced into attacking Karn, since the Karn Struct will be pretty big. Another Benelish Marshal. Now I'm really happy that I played another artifact. But again, I'm pretty sure our opponent has to attack Karn here. You know, has to sacrifice their Benelish Marshal for it. Be pretty surprised if they don't attack here or attack me. I'd be very surprised at both of those things. They're attacking me. Okay. I think that... okay, interesting. Our opponent didn't actually do anything that turn. I'm very surprised at that. So that means I'm going to put this Reservoir into play. I'm going to make another Karn Struct here. And then I'm going to gain 5 life. Another blocker into play is going to be pretty good. Can't really die from this point. Now we're just looking for one of our paradoxical outcomes. And just kind of gotta sit back with our 8/8/9/9 constructs and start drawing some cards with Karn. Really, we just want to protect Karn at this point. Sitting with a bunch of constructs in play, can't really imagine we're going to be in any amount of trouble. And if we draw Paradoxical Outcome off of Karn or a draw step, we're going to be in fantastic shape. My opponent has their own Karn, so they're going to start drawing cards. I think they might have accidentally clicked through. I think they wanted the plus first. Looks like they're just clicking through their turn. I'm not sure why. There's not really too much I can do about that. So let's just keep plussing our Karn. Keep trying to find something. We found another island. It's not very good. Not very good. We'll keep taking our time. I think they also might have maybe wanted to do something. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think our opponent just kind of missed a little something. We're just going to sit back, play Protect the Queen with our Karn until we find one of our payoffs, and this game should be pretty good. The opponent is drawing lands, that's for sure. It's a lot of lands. They unfortunately played their land first. Ooh, 3 mana. Is this 4 mana for a Shalai? Alright, Shalai's pretty good. It's pretty good against our Reservoir. Gives them hexproof. Yeah, unfortunately didn't really draw anything with anything for our turn here, so I think I'm just gonna gain a life here. I think I'm gonna make another construct here, since I don't think our Karn's gonna survive. I think I'm just going to attack my opponent for essentially lethal, although I'm pretty sure they have Seal Away in their hand, which is actually kind of unfortunate for us. We know they have Plains. I'm pretty sure one of their last cards is Seal Away, so I think attacking here is probably not great. Maybe okay. But we are just going to kind of lose to the Shalai attacking us in the air. So I think the question is do I want to make a construct, attack my constructs into their life total, and then lose our Karn and start losing on board? I think I might have to draw with Karn here, so I think I'm just going to draw with Karn here. Okay, that's unfortunate. Land in a Karn means our opponent doesn't really have a lot of choices to make. Their choice is realistically made for them. And I'm pretty sure our opponent just has Seal Away in hand here. So attacking with a construct doesn't really get us anywhere. Now we're just at a point where I need to draw Paradoxical Outcome. Yeah, I think Paradoxical Outcome is the best thing that I could draw. The good thing is if our opponent does do this, where they're attacking Shalai directly at us, that means they feel like our Karn is irrelevant. Especially if they have Shalai in hand, or especially if they have Seal Away in hand. And then we just realistically got to draw a Angel of Sanctions. Well, I don't want our opponent to have an Angel of Sanctions, but they're definitely going to have one next turn, that's for sure. That's a little unfortunate. Alright, our opponent's going real wide. So I think we need to draw... Paradoxical Outcome this turn. It's not Paradoxical Outcome, that's for sure. Alright. Let's draw another card with Karn. Both blanks. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So we're just gonna go have to and pass here again with not really doing anything. I think we're just actually might be dead on board. So that was kind of unfortunate. Kind of flooded out insanely bad and drew a lot of cards off Karn, and all of them were lands. So that's not helpful. I think we might just be dead. I think if our opponent just Karns back their Angel's Construct, and turns all their creatures sideways, I think I actually just die 5/9. Yeah, I'm just dead on board. Or if our opponent's going to plus Karn, that's pretty good for us. We know they have 2 planes in their hand as 2 of their cards. Our opponent's giving us all the chances in the world, so if we could just draw one of our payoffs instead of a land, that would be fantastic. We have 7, 8, 9, 10 lands so far. Only 18 left in the deck. I could theoretically go get... Or only 8 left in the deck. I could theoretically go get 2 more islands here, but I kind of want to make my Paradoxical Outcomes better. Ooh, that was pretty brutal. Commit to Memory also wouldn't be terrible, because I could commit the Shalai and then Memory with a Reservoir in play. And our opponent's just going to go ahead and attack us again. I don't blame them for that. They could... I think they just have lethal anyway. I think they could just turn everything sideways and I would die. Resplendent Angel. That's pretty good. Alright. This is it right here. We're either going to draw a payoff spell or we're going to die. Alright. Karn. Do me good. INspiring Statuary and an island. Alright, we're dead. That's unfortunate. We really needed a payoff spell, did not draw a single payoff spell, and we died. So that was unfortunate. So I'm going to board in these Baral's Expertise and this Zahid. I think we'll just kind of trim out on some of our lower end. Trim on Reservoir, since Reservoir is not very good against Shalai. Our opponent likely has 4 Shalai in their deck. So it was a little unfortunate, but not really too much to be done about that. We'll just have to try and get him in this next game. Hopefully we can. Hopefully we draw more than a Karn this time. I drew 4 or 5 extra cards, and it just wasn't even close to good enough. It was kind of unfortunate. Our opponent had a slow start, and just didn't really draw anything. We didn't draw Sai. We didn't draw a Fountain. Didn't draw an outcome, didn't draw a commit. This hand is kind of greedy, I think. So I'm going to mulligan. This hand's a lot better. So I think I'm going to keep this one. I think I like this Prism here. Basically gives us a cycle, but I do like having Psy and a bunch of lands and Baral's expertise. Alright. If we draw a land here that's perfect, that means I'm going to be able to play Psy into eventually a Renegade Map. Then we have Baral's expertise to bounce some creatures in our Prism and, you know, be able to do that little combo-ish thing that we did earlier. Sorcerer Spyglass, that's pretty good. If our opponent needs Renegade Map, that'd be pretty bad at this point in time because we kind of need the lands, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them just cast Psy instead. I wish Facebook would never notify me again. I turned off notifications and it still goes on anyway. Alright. Looks like they named Karn. Alright, that's fine. Baral's expertise does actually bounce artifacts too, so that's kind of nice. So I could bounce that if I really need. Alright. Ooh, Zahid here is kind of nice. That means I get to use my Renegade Map here. Go ahead, get an island the next turn, and then play Zahid. And Zahid will be pretty beefy. Being able to draw with Psy is kind of nice. Our opponent can't really attack here with Knight of Grace. Baffling End, oh, that's a little unfortunate. Baffling End is going to go ahead and eat my Psy. I can't really block this Knight of Grace anymore. No real reason to. I kind of want these Thopters in play just in case. Don't really need to do anything. Ooh, Zhalfirin Void is kind of nice. I'll put that to the bottom. I think I'm just going to go ahead and start getting aggressive here. Start attacking with my Thopters. I have Baral's expertise also to like gain a ton of tempo as well. Basically every turn our opponent taps out is a free turn for me to attack with Zahid. Renegade Map is nice here as well. Shalai, that's a good one. At least this doesn't give that hexproof. Their opponent can't really attack anymore. That will block. Will not think twice about it. That's kind of not ideal. Let's get the Sorcerer Spyglass, the Shalai in my prison. Alright, another island is not great. I'm hoping that I draw 0 lands now for the rest of the game. Hoping we draw some more payoffs. So it's a little bit troublesome position to be in. We're starting to run out of gas and our opponent has a lot of cards in hand. Resplendent Angel. Okay, I'll take that. As long as there's not a seal away, I'll be okay. Sorcerer Spyglass, I don't mind. It'll probably just name Karn again. If your name's Renegade Map, then they got me, you know? And Karn again. Let's go ahead and play Prism, draw a card. If I could never draw another island again, it would be too soon. Looks like my opponent just might be activating Resplendent Angel here, which is kind of unfortunate for me. Yep. Resplendent Angel's pretty good here. Not really too much I can do. And I'm just going to take the 7 here. I hope I don't draw a land for the rest of the game. Another payoff would be fantastic. Yeah, Zahid's fine, I guess. Not great. Let's expertise these things. Let's go ahead and just get in for 7. I'll put our opponent down to a pretty bad life total, and then they're going to have to block Zahid next turn with whatever flyer they play. They're only going to get to play 1 flyer. I like playing Resplendent Angel here. I guess it's one of the better... Oh, they have double Resplendent Angel. That's pretty bad for me. And that really sucks. They're so close. Opponent again has to block here. Oh wow, the double block is definitely not something I expected, but it definitely works out the best way that it could for me. So yeah, my opponent to 2. I have another Zahid. My opponent's gonna probably like pump. I don't even think my opponent can pump an attack here, right? I guess they have to. So they pump, attack, play a knight afterwards, but that's not great. I'm really not sure what my opponent's going to do here. Definitely the best draw for me is another Baral's Expertise here. Paradoxical Outcome is really good. Karn is the worst draw. We'll see here. I mean, we're still pretty far ahead. Still need a little bit. Still need a little bit of help. Still need a tiny bit of help here. I did mulligan to 6. Again, I mean, I'm keeping these Renegade maps in play because if I draw Paradoxical Outcome or I draw Psi, these are cards that I wouldn't mind sacrificing. They're definitely cards that I want to draw with Paradoxical Outcome. Alright, that's a Shalai. History of Benalia. It's kind of interesting. I guess my opponent's going to block Shalai on here, block one of these and go to 1. Ornithopter is not great. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's attack with everyone. There's no reason not to. Might as well just get in when I can. Yep, we're gonna get in for 1, kill a Shalai. Cast one of these Ornithopters and just pass, and hope I draw some not air next turn. Just hope I draw Paradoxical Outcome pretty much every turn. Baral's Expertise would also be very good here. So essentially we're looking for Expertise or Paradoxical Outcome here. Those or Psi. Those are really the cards that I'm looking for. Commit, I guess, also wouldn't be terrible. going to take 7 here. Or actually, I'm going to block the Resplendent Angel with Ornithopter, but our opponent is going to go up to 6, which means if I draw a commit to memory, one of our 2 commit to memories, or our last Baral's expertise, I do get to win the game. Otherwise, I think I'm just dead. All right, Metallic Rebuke. Yeah, that's not going to do it. We're dead. That's unfortunate. So, I guess let's talk about the deck for a little bit. We definitely lost a lot today. Definitely lost a lot. There were a lot of inconsistencies with the deck that, I wasn't really seeing before. I definitely wish I had Antiquities War in the deck, so I think that's a change that I'm going to make for the future. Baral's expertise was pretty good, but definitely a lot of the games where you kind of don't do anything, you really don't do anything, and that is kind of a scary proposition to be in. I'm still really interested in the deck. I still think the deck is really powerful and really good, but obviously we didn't do very well today, and I'm not sure if that was a product of variance or not, so I'm going to definitely play a few more leagues, but certainly need to make some changes for the deck going forward, and I think Antiquities War is what you need, because that's at least a card you can draw at any point in time on its own. Karn is also a card you can draw on its own with nothing in play, and it's just a good card. So I think that's a card that I'm going to be looking into playing. I think I definitely want another Baral's expertise. Metallic Rebuke was only okay, so I think I might change this for another expertise and this for at least one Antiquities War. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll catch everyone next time. Really appreciate you checking me out here on Gathering, or I guess CoolStuffInc.com now. Thank you very much.